Martyn Addinall. I'm a firefighter back in the UK. I've been a firefighter for 27 years and I've taught firefighters. I'm now a station manager within a fire station in Cornwall, and one of the things I did teach was wildfire. So I've come here to Antigua, and obviously the mountain is on fire and the support that's required is huge, volunteer support. So what I want to raise is how we as a service approach wildfire, how we look after our crews, who are all firefighters that have been trained correctly, and how the differences are there and the impact it's having on local people, local wildlife, and volunteers that are helping as well, and the risk that they're putting themselves at. So we work a magic term which we call LACES. So the first L is lookouts, and it's important to have lookouts because you need people to check where the fire is moving from. So if the fire is on the flat, that's quite straightforward, we can see it coming from different places. However, if it's on a slope, then the lookouts are really important because there could be another fire starting elsewhere and then coming up behind the people that are doing the firefighting. So to have that, we need an awareness. So those on the ground need to be aware where the fire is and how it's moving. And to know that, we also need communication. So communication is not just talking to each other, it's about having radios and having that straight line to the person who's noted that the fire is changing direction and putting people at risk. If people are at risk, they need escape routes. So escape routes need to be away from the fire and swift, easy routes to get away from the fire. The escape routes themselves will always be into a place of safety, but in this terrain there isn't that much safety around, and we'll talk about it a little bit later. And then finally, we have safety zones. And safety zones are there for people to gather and know the numbers of people. So the people who have evacuated from the fire, who are firefighting, can get themselves to the safety zone, which is wide open space away from fuel that could ignite. So they're all safe from there. So what I want to do now is move on to how a fire actually affects on a slope and how we fight fires in the UK when we come across a wildfire. Do you want to pause there?
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was really great.
So when we fight a fire in the UK, fires tend to light and then spread out. They create their own wind. They pull wind in from every angle to feed the fire. So what happens is the fire develops and it grows around this point. So the fire front is always going to be the largest part of the fire. Our attack is on the sides, and we slowly work our way up towards the front so that the fire is out on both sides, and then you only have a front of fire to attack, and then you come in from the angle to fight the fire. The problem we have with this is it takes a lot of people. It needs a lot of people with a lot of equipment and a lot of resources. What we have here in Guatemala are all these people that are fighting the fire. They don't have radios, they don't have communications, they don't have awareness, and that's the problem that the firefighters are having. So, in a situation which is a hill like this, and there's trees everywhere, well, it's jungle, it doesn't become very simple, and it becomes very hard to fight the fire. The next thing we have is the slope. Fires move so much faster on slopes. For every 10 degrees extra, the fire will double in speed. So you can understand that as the mountain gets steeper, so the fire will speed up. This is because when a fire is burning, everything ahead of it is being heated by the fumes. So as the fire burns, it gets drawn up the slope and moves even faster. In a woodland or a jungle, it is heating so much fuel, and the triangle of fire that we have to make fire, we have oxygen, fuel, and heat. Now, to stop fire, we take one of these away. That's quite straightforward. But here, on a mountainside in Guatemala, there isn't any way of getting that heat away. There's no water available for the crews that are fighting the fire. So we cannot take the heat away. And we cannot take the oxygen away. So all we can do is take the fuel away. So to take the fuel away means we have to cut down trees, dig trenches. And for all these people on this mountainside, that is so hard. It's nearly impossible, and the fire has been burning for weeks, and people are still trying to fight the fire. And they're putting themselves at risk to fight this fire. So how can we put the fire out in a safer manner? We can try to do this approach with huge amounts of people, people who are volunteering to do this on their own, coming in with limited equipment, limited firefighting activity going on. Or we can actually start thinking about taking the heat out. And the only way to take the heat out is to attack it from above using a helicopter. So a helicopter with water that's being dropped directly onto the fire will reduce that attack of fire up the slope of the mountain and reduce the risk to our people that are fighting the fire, reduce the damage to wildlife, and reduce the damage to the environment around the area with the huge amounts of smoke that's being produced. Thank you.